So, hello guys, this is Fake Beard here, and I'm doing a follow-up to my other video, the most anticipated games of the second half of 2022. I hope you guys enjoy watching the video, and if you do, please drop me a like, comment, and maybe even a subscribe. And I hope you guys have fun. Plague Tale: Requiem is a third-person action-adventure stealth game developed by Asobo Studio, releasing in October 2022. Like its predecessor, the game is set in 14th century France and focuses on Amicia, a teenage girl of noble descent, and her sick brother Hugo, as they flee from the soldiers of the French Inquisition and from hordes of rats that are spreading the Black Plague. The player controls Amicia, and for the majority of the game uses a stealth approach to avoid enemies, throwing rocks to create distractions or using rats to his advantage, manipulating them to solve puzzles or kill enemies. Compared to the original, the sequel is more action-oriented, introducing new weapons such as the crossbow to take down armored enemies. Unlike the original, Amicia won't die after being hit once and can return to stealth after being discovered. Requiem will have larger locations that give the player several options for how to progress, and the new skills upgrade system that reacts to the way the game is played. A deadly approach will be unlocking new combat skills, while a stealth approach will grant new abilities to help stay unnoticed. A Plague Tale is releasing this October on PlayStation 5, Xbox S and X, Nintendo Switch, and Microsoft Windows. The Callisto Protocol is an upcoming survival horror video game developed by Striking Distance Studios and published by Krafton. The game will be directed by Glenn Sheffield, who previously co-created the Dead Space series. Callisto Protocol is set in 2320 at a prison colony called the Black Iron, located on Jupiter's moon Callisto. The player takes the role of a prisoner held at the Black Iron, finding themselves having to escape the prison as the other inmates are turning into strange alien monsters. The Callisto Protocol seems heavy on third-person combat with lots of action in both melee range and long range, as well as giving the player the ability to hurl enemies into environmental hazards. Sheffield, who also co-created the Dead Space series, stated his intent was really trying to make the scariest game on the next gen of platforms, in the same way the Dead Space series had been considered on its release. He stated the game will take advantage of the new lighting techniques and 3D audio systems offered by the new consoles, as well as haptic feedback that the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller provides, and that it won't be using a HUD to create a deeper sense of immersion for the player. Dead Space was considered one of the best survival horror video games ever made by critics and public, and if that's anything to go by, we hopefully won't be disappointed by the Callisto Protocol. Callisto Protocol is scheduled for release on December 2nd, 2022 for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox S and X. Marvel's Midnight Suns is an upcoming tactical role-playing game developed by Firaxis Games in collaboration with Marvel Games. The storyline of the game is about stopping a supervillain, Lilith, Mother of Demons, trying to fulfill an ancient prophecy and bring back her evil master Chthon. Players will take the role of the Hunter, a customizable superhero able to choose between superpowers from over 40 different abilities. The game will include 13 different heroes from multiple Marvel Comics properties, including Iron Man, Captain America, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and more. Combat will be turn-based, similar to Firaxis Games' XCOM. At the start of a new mission, players will be able to choose from 3 different heroes to take into battle, and they are randomly dealt a deck of cards that grants them random abilities to which they are restricted during the mission. Between combat missions, player will be managing their upgradable base of operations called the Abbey, which they can walk around in third-person view to explore and interact with the other heroes. Role-playing elements such as interaction with the other characters will influence the gameplay and those heroes' abilities. Marvel fans and XCOM fans, as well as tactical RPG fans, should definitely be keeping an eye out for this title. The game is scheduled for release on October 7, 2022 for PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Xbox S and X, and PC. Scorn is a first-person body horror game developed by Ebb Software for PC and Xbox Series X and S. The protagonist is thrown in a nightmarish, breathing and living world where biological and mechanical elements seem to merge and will be exploring different interconnected regions in a non-linear fashion. The strange biomechanical world seems to be like a character in itself, with every zone having distinct themes, puzzles and characters. And storytelling happens in-game with no cutscenes to distract or break from the immersion. Throughout the game you will open up new areas, acquire different skill sets, items and weapons. All the weapons seen so far are biomechanical in nature, and all attach onto the character's body. To utilize a specific weapon, the player must remove the current weapon from their body and replace it with another. Like in most survival horror games, players will have a limited loadout, forcing them to think carefully about what fights they pick. If anything, the game has a very unique look, which in itself is enough to turn some heads. Scorn is coming October the 21st to PC and Xbox S and X. Lord of the Rings Gollum is a story-driven action-adventure title developed by Daedalic Entertainment, releasing the 1st September of this year. The game will take place prior to the events of the Fellowship of the Ring, with Gollum taking on a perilous journey in an attempt to retrieve the One Ring after he loses it to Bilbo. Sections of the game will focus on action and stealth, with Gollum sneaking around guards to avoid them or killing them with stealth takedowns, while other parts will focus more on a platforming and puzzle-solving aspect, as Gollum jumps between platforms and hangs from ledges or fits through tight spots to progress. The game uses a stamina system where every action that requires force of some kind will use up stamina, so the player will have to be mindful of the amount of stamina they have left before performing the next action. Part of the gameplay will also focus on Gollum's inner battle between Gollum and Smeagol. The player's decisions and playstyle will have a direct influence on Gollum's personality, and it is up to the player to decide whether the darker side of Gollum takes over. This game should be good news for fans of The Lord of the Rings and is coming this September the 1st to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. God of War Ragnarok, the long-awaited sequel to 2018's God of War, is an upcoming action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio that will be published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok is a series of natural disasters that include the submersion of the world in water. In this installment of the series, we will see Kratos and his teenage son Atreus begin to traverse the 9 worlds of Norse mythology to seek out the means to prevent Ragnarok. During their journey, they will encounter Norse gods such as Tyr, the god of war, Thor, the Norse god of thunder, and Freya, the goddess of love and beauty. Ragnarok will continue to explore the complexity of the interactions between Kratos and his son Atreus. Kratos will try to balance between Atreus' desperate curiosity and desire to help out, while also trying to keep him safe at the same time. God of War Ragnarok will improve combat, adding new attack abilities for Kratos and new runic summons for Atreus, while also creating more player choice and allowing players to choose between specializing in physical combat or mastery of the elements or defensive tactics. The game is also opening up the choice to the way Kratos is built regarding his equipment and loadout. Unluckily, at the moment, there's still no word about the possibility of a port of God of War Ragnarok to PC, and for now the game is only planned to be releasing to PS4 and PS5 in Q4 of 2022. Overwatch 2, the sequel to the futuristic team-based hero shooter developed by Blizzard, enters early access on October the 4th, 2022 and will be free to play. Overwatch 2 won't be a traditional sequel. In fact, it will be divided in 2 separate modes. The PvP portion of Overwatch 2, which will be a free-to-play live service game that automatically replaces Overwatch 1, and the PvE portion, which is still in development and expected to be released in 2023. Not much is known about the PvE part of the game at the moment, but it's going to include repeatable story-based missions that will help earn unique abilities for heroes. It will also include NPCs that give out mission objectives. The whole thing sounds like a more fleshed out version of PvE that is currently present in Overwatch 1. The free-to-play part of the game releasing this October will have seasonal updates every 9 weeks or so. Each season will have a battle pass and will regularly add new maps and heroes for all players. The first season is bringing 3 new heroes, 6 new maps, a new game mode, along with skins and cosmetics to the game. Overwatch 2 is making big changes to the meta of competitive PvP as well. Team sizes are reduced to a 5v5 format with only one tank hero for each team. Tanks will be encouraged to take a more aggressive approach to the game, and existing heroes will be undergoing substantial revisions to how their abilities and weapons function. Starting from October the 4th, fans of the Overwatch franchise will be able to get their hands on the new Overwatch 2 on PC, PS4 and PS5, Xbox One, Xbox S and X. And this is it. I hope you guys had as much fun watching the video as much as I had fun researching all the titles, and feel free to point it out if you feel I missed anything. And I'll see you next time.